Hi everybody and welcome to Fab Tax. I'm Rosemary and thanks for stopping by. Today I'm excited to share another trash to treasure, this time featuring Christmas signs made from yard sale finds. Recently, my neighborhood held its annual yard sale, and knowing that I wanted to make some Christmas signs for my hot cocoa bar this year, I went out looking for some materials to work with. And what I found was this Live, Laugh, and Love sign, this chalkboard, and then this skirt and sweater. And I know you're saying, okay, I get the first two, but what in the world are we going to do with a skirt and a sweater? Well, if you want to find out and also see what I did with the other two signs, let's go ahead and get started. The first item I'm going to be working with is this Live, Laugh, and Love sign. And after giving it a quick cleaning, I went and gave it a coat of white paint. I would have preferred some brush chalk paint, but I couldn't find it. So I'm just going to use this ultra matte white spray paint. So my idea here was to do a version of the Lost Socks sign that you see either in stores or online. And, it has just lost socks and looking for my soulmate. They're really cute and then put little clothespins at the bottom. But instead what I wanted to do here is to do a version with mittens and make it a wet mitten sign. And I wanted to use these clothespins from the Dollar Tree and then these little mitten stickers also from the Dollar Tree to decorate them. I thought this would be so cute after you come in from the snow for some hot cocoa to have a place to hang your wet mittens to dry before you go out for some more fun. So what I decided to do was to paint the clothespins in black, since I'll be using black lettering, and then to paint the mittens in Waverly chalk paint, crimson, and malachite. For the letters, I'll be using these poster stickers from the Dollar Tree, and then this little trick that I saw Kat from According to Kat use with a ruler. Now, she said, I believe that she saw this originally on Jerry Ann. So between the two of them, wonderful idea, really appreciate it. So this is a great way to apply lettering, and allows you to get the letters onto the ruler so that you can easily apply them, and then also to measure out where they are and to measure up how far you want to place them. And so I'm going to go ahead and just do the wet part. And then I'm going to actually pull off the mittens. It just wasn't large enough. So I'm going to pull that back off again and then reapply the whole word mittens so that I can put that all on at one time. And then just reposition anything that just kind of fell out of line. Next, I decided to add some of this red ticking ribbon that I got from Michael's to either side just by applying some glue on the front side, and then I'm going to wrap it and hot glue it to the back. Next, I want to mark where I'm going to be placing my clothespins. So I'm going to use a ruler and I'm going to line it up with the bottom of the sign. And then I'm going to use the ruler's width to draw a line, and then that's where the top of my clothespins will be aligned. Then I'm going to take some E6000 and also some hot glue, and then just line the top of the clothespin up with that line that I just drew. And then I'm going to place the ruler to the edge of that ribbon, and then it'll be at the 1, 3, 6, and 8 that I place the clothespins. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to again take my ruler and I'm going to use the width of the ruler to create my line to place my clothespins at. And then I'm going to mark them off at 1, 3, 6, and 8 again as to the locations that the clothespins are going to be glued. And then after all of my clothespins were attached, I just went and hot glued the ribbon to the back of the sign. After the mittens were painted and dry, I went with a black Sharpie marker and just went all around the edge of the mittens. I was trying to show you here the detail that's actually on the mittens, but I just made it worse and more blurry. But there is little detailing on the mittens that you can just easily follow on the fronts, and then just going along the sides as well. And then also embossed into the mitten itself are these little dots and the little pattern. I just went back with a black Sharpie and highlighted those as well. And then to just attach them to the clothespins, I used some E6000. Once it was done, I decided that I did want to do a little bit more accenting, and so I did a little edging on it with a dry brush to the edges with some black paint. Probably should have done some distressing, but this was not the time to do it since all these other things would have gotten messed up, so I just kind of did a little bit of edging and called it a day. And here is the finished project. Now, since I'm using this for a Christmas cocoa bar, these colors make sense, but if it is something that you would like to use after the holidays, you might want to go with some different colors, and maybe even some neutral tones would look good with this sign. For the next sign, I'm going to be using the chalkboard, and first I just wanted to give it a little sanding to get any of the dirt or oils off of the wood, because I do want to give it a little stain. Now, I'll be using this Minwax dark walnut stain, but if you don't have stain, you can just do like a paint, like a brown paint that's been diluted with water. That'll also give a nice stain effect. But since I have boatloads of stain, I thought I would go in with some actual stain for this project. I thought it would be fun to do a little sleigh sign, so I picked up this sleigh at the Dollar Tree. It has garland covering it. So the first thing I did was just remove all the garland from the sleigh. And as you can see, once all the garland is removed, it does reveal a really nice sleigh figure. So I did want to do a white sign, or want a white sleigh, so I just went ahead and spray painted it with some of this ultra matte white spray paint. So this is what the sleigh looks like after it's been painted. And you could cut those little nubs off, but I thought it kind of looked like little Christmas lights or something, so I left them on. And then I just printed these words off of my computer, and I will supply a link to these. And then also this little diamond shape, and then the words hot cocoa, and then I'm also going to be using the word served at the bottom. And then I just kind of cut them out so that I could position them better on the sign. And then what I found, the only thing that would work on this surface is these pastel, oil pastels that my son happened to have, so I used those in white. I tried a white crown, that didn't work out too well on this surface, and the pencil, nothing was working, but this seemed to work. And then I just traced the back of the sign with, just traced the lettering on the back of the piece of paper, and then flipped it to the front side, and then just went back and traced it with my pencil to transfer the image onto the chalkboard. And then once I was finished tracing, I was able to go back and just pull the piece of paper away, and then there was the imprint of the word sleigh, which I then was able to trace over with a white paint marker. I then repeated the process for all the other words, using an oil white pastel on the back, and then retracing the word on the front with a pencil, and then once the image was transferred, using my white paint marker to go over all of the lettering. I then applied the diamond shapes by measuring up from the bottom and drawing a line, and then lining up my template on that line, and then again tracing the diamonds, which had already been traced on the back with the oil pastel. And now onto the hot cocoa template, again using the same process. And then lastly, the served template, done the exact same way as the previous ones. And then after I was done all of the wording, I did go back over everything again with a second coat of the white paint marker. And then I just took some hot glue and attached my sleigh to the chalkboard. And here's the finished project. Now, as an afterthought, I thought it would have been really cute if I had wrapped the sleigh with lights, and then it could have been a light up sign as well. And I think I am going to do that and show that in the hot cocoa video, which I will be publishing shortly. So if you want to see that, you might want to check back to check that out. Okay, so now we're going to do the skirt and sweater sign. So in order to do that, I'm going to use one of these embroidery hoops. And first I'm going to again use the dark walnut stain to stain the embroidery hoop. Staining is one of my favorite things to do because it gives you such a great impact almost effortlessly. Of course, it is messy, so I do wear gloves when I'm doing this, but otherwise it just gives such a great effect. And all you need to do is just wipe it with a cloth or a paper towel and just wipes it right on, and there you go. You have a beautiful stain finish. After it was done, I did let it dry for a couple of hours just to make absolutely certain that none of the stain would get on my white sweater. Speaking of which, here's my white sweater. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the bottom hoop underneath of the material. It would have been easier if I just cut the front of the sweater off, but you get the idea. I just slid the hoop underneath and then placed the top hoop on top. I should have lined that up better on the top of the pattern, which I did actually do later on, but then I just attached the hoop and then just gave a little bit of hot glue on the back to make sure I didn't have any slippage over time. Then I took this template of a Christmas tree, and again I'll link that down below, and then cut that out and then used a Sharpie marker to go back in on my skirt now and outline the tree. And then I'm going to just cut that out from there. So this is the large tree cutout. I'm going to just place that in the middle. And then I also have a smaller tree template, and I'm going to cut 2 of those from the skirt. And then once everything is cut, I just went back in with some of this fabric glue and just attached it to the edging of the trees and then glued it to the sweater surface. To add a finishing touch, I just took some greens from a pick that I purchased from Walmart and hot glued some pieces of the pick to the top of the hoop. And here's the finished project, a Christmas sign made from a sweater and a skirt. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this latest Trash to Treasure featuring Christmas signs made from yard sale finds, including this wet mitten sign, this SLEIGH and hot cocoa sign, and this sweater hoop wall hanging. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give a thumbs up, and please share with any family and friends you think would also enjoy this video. Please let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and if you're not already a subscriber and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you join the family. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.